In this tutorial, we're going to go through 5 more JavaScript exercises that are practical and will help you understand and work with the DOM. Hi, this is James from Junior Developer Central, and welcome to this tutorial where we're going to be doing some more DOM exercises. If you have a second before we start, don't forget to subscribe to support the channel and so you don't miss out on any future tutorial updates, and you'll find a link to the exercises in the description below. So I've got another 5 exercises for you in this tutorial, and they're all going to be focused on updating this template that we've got. It's a fairly basic job board layout, so there's a search functionality and there's some jobs that are listed below. And all of the exercises will be focused around updating this template. And you can either go through all the exercises on your own and use the links in the description below to jump back if you need a solution, or you can just sit back and watch the tutorial and see some sample solutions that I came up with when creating these exercises. So let's crack on with exercise 1. So you might have noticed we've only got one job that's actually listed in the template at the moment. The idea being that this would be the job title, the salary, and the skills that are required for it. And exercise 1 is basically asking us to create 3 additional jobs by basically copying that initial template and just reproducing it 3 times. So if we have a look in the actual HTML itself, you'll see that the jobs are contained within a div element, and that particular one that's there at the moment is just referenced by a class of job card. So one possible solution is to copy that markup as a string and then just insert it into the div with the class of jobs 3 times. But what I'm actually going to do is get a reference to this particular job that's already existing and then use a clone function to clone it 3 times. So let's first of all get a reference to the existing job that's there. And then I'm going to create 3 new jobs and assign them to variables by using the clone node function. So the clone node function will make an exact copy of the HTML elements that are inside of the job 1. So the clone node function will create an exact copy of the HTML elements that are inside that existing job card, and we pass the argument of true into that to make sure that we get everything inside of that. In other words, any children and text nodes that are inside that. Otherwise, we'd only just get a clone of the outer element. So now with the job cloned, let's insert those 3 new jobs after the first job element. So now you can see in our output that we've actually got 4 jobs listed under the job section, and they're all exact copies of the first template. So you might want to play around with some of the positioning for this, because job 4, which you would expect to be the last job, is actually been inserted here into the second column of our job listings, and that's because we're inserting each of the newly created jobs after the first job element. So you could just adjust the order of these or change where you're actually inserting the new jobs, but for exercise 1 I'll just leave it as it is for the moment. So that's one solution for exercise 1. If you did get something different, then feel free to post it in a comment below. But let's move on and have a look at exercise 2. So all of the new jobs that we've created have got the same job title, so let's go ahead with exercise 2, which is asking us to update each of those job titles to be JavaScript Developer, Java Developer, and Python Developer. And the ordering of these isn't really important, as long as each job has a unique title. So this solution is a really good example of why it's handy to store the result of your query selectors into a variable, or if you're creating new elements to use this approach rather than just using a HTML string. Because in this exercise we've still got a reference to job 2, job 3 and the job 4 elements, and we can just use that as a shortcut to access its inner properties, such as we've done here by updating the heading level 3 tag. So for example, if we had just assigned the new jobs by using a HTML string, we'd need to write some more complex query selectors to select each individual one when we're updating the job title. So that's a nice quick solution for exercise 2. Let's move on and have a look at exercise 3. So exercise 3 is asking us to update the number on the page that's showing the number of jobs listed to actually show how many real jobs we've got listed in our jobs section. So at the moment it's just showing 300 jobs listed, but we've only got 4 within our output. So we need to find out how many jobs we've actually got in there and show that number accordingly. So let's have a look in our HTML markup. So you can see there's a heading level 2 tag with an ID of jobs-listed, and inside that the number of jobs listed is inside a span tag. So all we really need to do to solve this one is to select that element and update its inner text property. So of course this solution works, but wouldn't it be nice to dynamically update the number that's displayed depending on how many new jobs are being added into that job section? So let's get a reference to see how many job cards there actually are and use that to update this inner text property. So although the result of a query select all function gives us a node list rather than an actual array, there is still a length property, so we can simply say jobs.length. So now if we were to insert more jobs into the job section, as long as they still have the class of job card, the number of jobs in this section will update. So that's one solution for exercise 3. Let's have a look at exercise 4. So exercise 4 is a relatively complex problem and we need to write a bit of complex code to actually solve this. But essentially what it's asking to do is when we type something into the search box in the top right hand corner, it should only show us jobs whose titles match that text. So we need to listen for keyboard events within that input box and then show or hide any of the job cards depending if the title of the job actually matches the text that the user has entered. And of course we want to do partial matching, so we don't want to do an exact match, otherwise the user would have to type in the exact job title. So we need to check if the string the user is typing is actually inside of the job title itself. So let's make a start with this one. The actual search box has got an ID of search, so we can just reference it by that in our query selector. So I'm just going to set up an event listener on the keyUp event, and from there let's get a reference to the search box. Now what we're going to do is loop through all of the job cards themselves and show or hide them depending on whether the text of the search box is matched in the job title. So the first thing I'll do inside the loop is to actually get a reference to the job title text itself. And then I'll check whether that job title text actually includes the search text. So I'm going to do that using the includes function, and I'm making sure that the job title has been set to lowercase as well as the value that the user's typed into the search box. And I've actually put a not operator before this expression. So we're basically saying if the job title doesn't include the search text, then we're going to hide that particular job. And if not, we know there's a match in the job title text, so let's show the job. So that should be pretty much all we need to get some working search functionality, so let's give that a go. So just typing in software shows us the software engineer position. And if we type in the word Java, we match in the JavaScript and Java developer jobs. So that's one possible solution for exercise 5. In a real world application, you'd probably want to make it a little bit more complicated than that, but just as a quick searching functionality, it does the job quite nicely for us. So let's have a look at the final exercise, exercise 5. So exercise 5 is asking us to configure the All Jobs button to basically reset the search so that when the user clicks it, any search that's in progress at the time is removed and we show all jobs in the job section. So there's two things we need to do for this exercise. The first is to make sure that all the jobs are shown, and the second is to actually reset the value that's inside of the search input box. So in that way we're going to be resetting the form and also the display of the jobs as well. So let's go ahead and set up an event listener for the button. So that button has the ID of show all, so we'll use that in our query selector, and we don't need to worry about the event that's inside of the event listener, so we'll just omit that from the function callback. So for each job that's in the job section, let's actually just set the display to block so that we know that it's being shown on the page. And of course we need to set the value for the input box back to a blank string so that it's ready for a new search. So that should pretty much reset our view for us, so let's go ahead and try a search. And you can see we've only got 2 jobs that are showing at the moment, but if we click the All Jobs button, first of all the jobs are being displayed again for us, and the search box has been reset, ready for a new search. So that's one possible solution for exercise 5, and that brings us to the end of our DOM exercises tutorial. So hopefully you've learned a few tips and tricks from this tutorial, and you've seen how to clone a node rather than just copying and pasting some HTML text. And you saw in the earlier exercises how it's useful to store a reference to those new nodes so that you can come back to them and update them later. So that's about it for this video. Just before you go, don't forget to subscribe to support the channel and so you don't miss out on any future tutorials.